Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon with my tournament. Tactical tournament, rules 3 versus 3, 3,000 starting points per team, no income, and Blue 4 picks the map. No US, no USSR, and no coalitions. Now, we are looking at BuffANZAC, which are currently playing Red 4, versus Born to Shit, Forced to Wipe, which is the Red 4 team name. Now, Blue 4, BuffANZAC, BuffANZAC, so the red team, asked me, hey, our third team member can't make it. Is it okay if we take on a 2 versus 3? And I said, well, sure. If you guys feel confident enough with that, go for it. They have played each other twice, these teams. One was won by BuffANZAC and one was won by Born to Shit. So these guys seem fairly evenly matched. Now, this 2 versus 3 is not going to be easy for Death Charge and Ninja 1 on BuffANZAC, so on the Red 4 team. It's going to be interesting to see how they manage to cope with an inability to focus on a huge map. And maybe that's why Blue 4 picked 38 Perpendicular as a map, which is a map that you really don't see played a lot, and that immediately caught my attention. Now, let's see what these guys are going to play with. We got the TY90s from the Chinese, so that's what the Death Charge is using. And over here we got XA180s and XA180 KT, so we have a Finnish deck over here. Blue 4, aka Born to Shit, Forced to Wipe. Yes, it is really the name of the team. I'm seeing a Leopard for Kenning, which is a Dutch unit. We got the Lands, we got the Macbeth, so Social Fish is playing an Israeli deck. And over here we got the French. VAB VDAA. Another Roland, AMX 13 VTT, looks to be reservists. I'm not sure if Blue 4 actually intentionally picked this map because it's so wide, and because it's going to be very difficult for Red 4 to keep focus on all these different areas. If they did, then it's very clever. Because it's going to be hard for Red 4 to play zoomed out like this and still have all the units in their sights and seeing what's going on. Now, as you can see by the timer, it's not going to be a very long match. The guys are still setting up, but the entire match is going to take just 20 minutes, as opposed to the 30 minutes time limit, which is what the teams have. Let's see. We have an attack marker from Death Charge going here. Delta, and he's not quite taking Echo or Bravo, but he's taking the forest in between. And over on the right, looks like Ninja 1 hasn't set up an attack marker. Blue 4 hasn't either, but of course Blue 4 is probably communicating through the Discord, and that makes communication and coordination a lot easier. Large pile of units over here. We got a 325 Pikud, lots of transports, and a Merkava 3 Baz. Macbeth, Hammer transports, elites, so these are Shite at 13. Saifan landed in the fields, and the Ram TCM standing by to scout for the whole group. Couple of Dutch support units, Laroto 2, iHawk Heos, and a YP408 with command. So they have 1, 2 commands, 3 commands, 4 commands. I wonder if there's another command. Yeah, 5 commands, 6. That's 600 points out of your 3,000 that they have invested in CVs. They might very well be going for an extremely quick land grab and just grabbing so many sectors that Red is going to be forced to push and make mistakes. Let's see how this thing plays out. I wonder where the first clash is going to be. Looks like we've got the Z9As. They're holding? I thought they were going to fly in right with the Z9A TY90. And take over the buildings here before the Dutch manage to arrive and probably send in the Corps Mariniers to try and take these buildings. So I'm assuming that this is going to be Legion 90. Another TY90 and an MIA-T dropping into a position where they're again cutting off the Blue 4 team. But Blue 4 has a lot of units coming this way. And the Ram TCM has already spotted the MI-8T and is working on taking one of them down. Hilo is spinning out of control and dropping to the ground. The other one has managed to hover low and is dropping off their infantry. Wouldn't recommend that you take off with this one. We've got the Lu Zandui from the Chinese taking the building over here. which is going to have a very rough day, judging by all the Israeli infantry coming down that way. Interesting fight here with the Merkava 3 versus WZ 550. The Merkava has a range of 2800, and this one has 2975, so it has a slightly better range. It managed to pull outside of the range of the Merkava, and it has already landed 2 missiles on the Merkava, and now the Merkava pulls back, and probably loses line of sight to the 550, so the 550 dunks its missile into the ground. But Social Fish is going to be forced to get this tank out of here. Laro Totu Van Persie is currently trying to shoot back against the 550 and lands the missile, removing the threat for the Merkava. In the meanwhile, over here we have indeed get the Legion 90 from Death Charge. There's not an actual engagement between these guys happening yet, but if the Dutch or the Chinese, and it's currently Chinese which are pushing up, they're going to run into the Dutch Stoottroepen, and the Stoottroepen are going to get melted down by the Legion 90. They still have Zanshi for support, but it's really the Legion 90 which are doing the work here. The one thing that they cannot do much against is the Leopard for Kenning down there. But that's really quite alright, because they just need a bit of time to push through the Stoottroepen and a second wave. The Huzaren are already beating retreat and moving to a position from where they can still safely spot for the rest of the team. We've got 7.65 50s, so that's just 50 cals trying to assist. Stoottroepen are going down quick. It seems to be like this is the only hot sector currently. There are setups being made here. Blue 4 has a +1. Over here it's just quiet. It's such a wide front that it's hard to push in. Red 4 is going to have to do something if they don't want to just wait for the next 30 minutes and let this thing tick over. The Chinese have won this fight, seemingly without the loss of a single squad. We got a large missile going in there, and that narrowly missed the HQ-7. What was that? That was a Dutch Lance tactical missile. Zanshi take out the Leopard for Kenning, immediately blinding the Cheetah and making sure that the Cheetah cannot take care of the Zanshi anymore. Come on, Blue 4. You got 3 players. You can push, but you don't have to. Red 4 seems to be fixing up their TY-90 over here. They have brought in another CV, which, if I'm interpreting correctly, is going towards Echo. There's a Nesher A moving in. It's about to run into both the HQ-7 and the HQ-61s. And get shot down. There's also the MiG-29 913, so that is no longer a threat to the Red 4 ground units. LVT-4 coming in. Looks to be a lead rank, so that's going to be Corps Mariniers. What you got over there? Oh, the Ram TCM is engaging the MIA-T. And killing it. More Blue 4 units coming up. This time around, it's not just 50 cals. This time around, it's autocannons. And looks like Social Fish is helping out his teammate, the third whale, with a couple of Zeldas. So between these, and maybe throwing down a lance on this structure over here, they'll be able to push infantry out of the way. And then make their way through here. Because this is a soft spot for Red 4. Zanshi are falling back. Corps Mariniers did come out of those LVT-4s. Or, sorry, singular LVT-4. Corps Mariniers taking a position pretty far up ahead. Grenadiers coming out. Legion 90 slightly farther in the back. Looks like Blue is also moving here a bit. No, not that much. Zanshi are pushing forward, and they took out one of the 7.65 25s. That's a blow to Blue 4. The Blue 4, however, also have the Messiah At over here. Grenade launchers, quick way to get rid of the Zanshi and potentially the Legion 90 if they show their face. Looks like they're not that eager to engage this time. Looks like just a couple of random shots from the Messiah At against the Zanshi. They're all very, or well, not very, but fairly healthy. Grenadiers pushing up. Skirmish going on the right. Shayatet versus Luzandui. Shayatet could win that. But there's also a Tanka Shashuk squad over there, which you don't really want to have fire at your Shayatet for too long. So once again, it's the Messiah At who are going to try and take out the Luzandui, and they're doing severe damage to them. Now the Shayatet feel confident to try and take out the Luzandui. And nobody's really spotting each other here, so they're just sitting there in this sort of standoff mode. Third whale is saying we have an attack here. Maybe he's planning to push through this side. They do have that TY-90 over there, but it's only against helicopters and airplanes. It's not so much a threat versus the Duff or the Laroto 2. Grenadiers still pushing up against the Zanshi. Corps Mariniers in support. Legion 90 are still not engaging. This is what I find interesting about these tactical matches. It can be so easy to immediately push up if you only knew how little the enemy actually had. Because it's just a few infantry squads. Over here, there's pretty much nothing. You could drive well, not so much an unarmored truck, but let's say a Leopard Verkenning. You could drive it all the way here and pretty much end up over there in the Red 4 base. Red 4 is just throwing down some artillery here. Oh, they're trying to kill off the command vehicle, I think. I'm not sure they have eyes on it, but they might be suspecting that it's there. And they did get it. Putting Red 4 at a +1, so they can hopefully regain some points and even out the score, because they are on the losing side right now. Blue 4, I'm not sure if they got eyes on it or suspecting it. Maybe suspecting it. That there's a Red 4 command vehicle over there. I was half and half expecting the Lance to start firing. But it's not yet. Blue 4's bringing in another CV. Tactical missile seems ready, but it might not be fully loaded yet. Another LVT-4 coming in, so that's more Corps Mariniers. Neither party seems very interested in moving just yet, but then again, they still have 20 minutes according to the clock. Now, Blue 4 is no longer bleeding points. How is this going to end in 8 minutes? What is going to change? They're saying, yeah, you need to attack here. That's General Red. There's the Lance. Lance is preparing to fire. But it's not fully loaded yet. It's aimed alright, but it's not fully loaded yet. So they cannot do that much. Let's check back in here, where the Shayatet and the Messiah At are pushing back the Chinese, block by block. Amer transports seeking to assist, but it's very difficult for them to operate in a town like this without getting immediately one-shot by the Luzandui. That PF-89 is very dangerous indeed. And they do fire 20 rounds a minute off that weapon. So it's not really something that you want to fight with. Is that Lance ready? Pretty much. Lance is about to fire. And when it does, they could immediately put down one... There we go. They could put down that command vehicle. And their estimation seems correct. Let this serve as a reminder not to put your command vehicle in too likely a spot. Because I think they're just fishing. And successfully so. Look at that. They just went, yeah, more or less there. But if you have something the size of 20 AG from the tactical missile from the Lance, then it doesn't really matter if you slightly miss. So they just pushed back, and they have a +1 again. Where did that helicopter-borne CV go? It's over here. It looks like it might be getting dropped off, and taking a counter position in Echo, which was put Blue 4 on +2. Another Q-51 coming in from the Red Air Force. Heos should be locking on any moment now. Missile away. The damage is done. The rocket pod strike, I'm not sure if it wiped out a squad, but at least it did some damage. But unfortunately for Red, that is their aircraft down. And it looks like there is nothing stopping the Israeli from pushing farther and farther into the India sector. Corps Mariniers against what remains of the Zanshi. Over here we got an AMX-13 VTT pushing. Looks to be deterred by 1KTs. Bushmaster 2 is very dangerous to these little VTTs. They don't have the armor, they don't have the speed. They're just going to get killed off very quick. It looks like Red 4 is just sitting here. They do have a fairly decent position here with a Sissy team, an ATGM team, some anti-air, BMP2s with autocannons. They can hold off on offense for a bit. Come on, Blue 4, you can have... There we are. They can hold off for a while, but Blue 4 doesn't really need to take this position. They just need to neutralize the Echo sector. Red 4 is desperately bringing in another ZZC-56. And the Harmer seem to smell weakness on the part of the Red 4. And they're not wrong about that. So they're rushing forward. Not taking the direct road. Then again, in the case of the Hammer, it doesn't really matter because they still have 80 kph off-road speed. So if these guys find that CV, and Blue 4 pushes that other CV into position as they just did, then they suddenly have a +3. And I don't see Red coming back from this. Looks like they just threw down another... Was that another Lance missile? Yeah, the Lance is just reloading. So I think they just tossed down another Lance missile generally there. And it did hit. It put them at a +4 because now they have control of Echo. India is neutral. CV's on the run. That's the +4. So Red 4 really has no other plays here. A very, very wide front. A bit of fly fishing with a Lance. And just some very small skirmishes. I think we're going to see a very interesting kill list here because it's going to be, well, pretty empty. Not that many units have been sacrificed on either part. Did that Murkov ever survive? Yeah, it did. There we go. Social Fish seems to think to know where they are. And he's not wrong, because if they had gone this way, he'd already have seen them. If they had gone that way, well, good luck finding a CV ever in there. What you got there? Oh, Red 4's firing back with their artillery. Unfortunately, their artillery is not quite as good as the Lance. And sure enough, it does damage against the infantry here, but not enough. Blue 4 rushing in with their Hammer. And that is going to be one dead command vehicle very quick. Although it does seem to be making a move for it. It's trying to escape. Taking a bit of machine gun fire from the Hammer. They did capture a cargo truck. Death Charge is running away as quickly as he can. And they can keep that up for a while because they have autonomy. They have speed. The only thing that the Hammer are better at is off-road speed. But then again, they don't really need to take it down. They just need to flush it out of the sector as they have. ZZC-56 coming in. That's going to be a bit more to chew off for the Hammer, but the Zelda can survive. And the Zelda with the machine guns are putting down this 56 very quickly. Allowing the one solo Hammer to try and chase down the command vehicle. So this turned into a bit more of a Cold War of a match than I'd expected. Another Lance seemingly struck this position. And now you could argue, yeah, well, Red 4 had 2 players. Yes, they did. But with those 2 players, they won another match against this same team. There we go, look at that. 17 minutes. Blue 4 killed 910 points and lost 655. Out of the original 3,000, right? So there were still a lot of units left on the map, as you saw. But not all of them had to be killed. They just had to be contained and pushed back. Hope you enjoyed the match. I hope it goes to show that in this tournament match you don't have to kill everything. You don't have to push as hard as the match that we saw by Rasputin's team. It's entirely possible to have these small encounters and just sort of go fishing with your Lance. Don't put your CV in positions which are too obvious. Because if that Dutch Lance has any sort of idea of where you might be, and it tosses down one of those tactical missiles with 20 HE, then, well, that could be good night for your command vehicle. So try to keep it unpredictable. Move it maybe from time to time, as long as you can keep it concealed. Anyway, that's all for this match. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you want to see more about the tournament, link down below in the description where you can see what the current team standings are, how many matches they've won and lost, that is as long as the tournament's going on, and of course more matches soon on the channel. See you then.